Alexa, off. And that's how you do an announcement, not like that Tuballard Griffin. I feel like I gained 20 pounds just standing next to him. I have to open the window to get that fat kid smell out. Hey, lawnmower guy, how do you say fat in Spanish?
Gordo.
Okay, week 42, and as you can see right off the bat, what the heck is going on this week? It's not a good week, let's say. Well, I started out Monday going hardcore. I only ate my stew, no Triscuits. I was thinking this week I'm gonna, just literally go hardcore and make some progress. And then Tuesday, something that I had planned but forgotten about. And this may be TMI for some of you, but I'm all about transparency here in this whole thing. On Tuesday, I had to have a little procedure done on my toes. They had to cut out the side of the toenail, and that made it where it was difficult to walk even on Tuesday. And then even to today, Sunday, I'm still not feeling up for the treadmill. It's just too tender down there. So, and like the worst thing is actually walking downstairs. I got to go real slow and careful on that because it just hurts. But anyway, so this week was kind of shot on the working out side, and then weights, I wasn't comfortable doing weights the day after the thing. So that was a little bit of an upset this week. And then food-wise, on Wednesday, my wife and I went out for pizza, and then I ended up eating a little more later that day as well. I probably hit about 3,000 calories, overdid it, but these things happen sometimes. And then Thursday, I mentioned this last week, my company was having free pizza, so I went way overboard on the free pizza. It was real good, and I ate way too much of it. And then that evening, Thursday evening, my wife and I went out and got some sushi. So the two combined really just packed the calories in that day. Then I thought Friday, okay, it's time to get serious, go back to hardcore mode. And so I only ate the stew again, just 800 calories. And then I fasted yesterday like usual. And then today I'll just eat the stew. So I'm trying to get back into hardcore mode. I am back in hardcore mode because I'm running out of time. Between now and Christmas, we got 6 more weeks, and I got to lose about 6 pounds to get to that 10% body fat. So that's a pound a week, which is not unreasonable. I just have to be disciplined. So we're going to try to do that. And I'm hoping next week, maybe tomorrow, maybe in the next couple of days, I'll be able to get back on the treadmill because that's a lot of calorie burning that I'm missing out on, as well as eating a little bit too much. If you add up these calories, I'm still below maintenance for the week, but something you'll see in the numbers, on days that I eat too much, specifically Wednesday and Thursday, if I have an excess, I'm learning that my body's so lean now that it's no dummy. It takes all of those calories and stores them as fat, like right away. And then it goes back into being efficient and not letting go of that fat. Because like this week, I ate way below maintenance and still gained weight. So that's interesting, and that's something that I, need to accommodate for forever now, especially as I get to 10%. I'm sure it's going to be even worse, that my body's going to hold on to this stuff. So I have to, I can still splurge, of course, but then the recovery afterwards, I'll know, okay, I got to go hardcore for, a week or whatever to make up for one pizza day. And that's just life. As a lean person, that's what you got to do. You got to pull the, imagine it's a machine and you got different levers. You get this extra input of pizza, then you got to pull these levers like, okay, hardcore day for the next 3 days, or I got to add an extra fasting day or whatever to recover from that, ideally within the next week and not let it drag out, because that's how people fall off the wagon and just gain 50 pounds back. I know, because I've done that in the past. Like, I actually lost years ago quite a bit of weight and literally gained it all back. I had lost about 50 pounds years ago and just gained it all back because I never learned the lesson. And now that I'm talking about learning lessons, I have a friend who is doing it the cheating way with the medicine to lose weight. And my worry for him is that if he stops taking that medicine, he's just going to gain it back because he didn't learn the hard way how to do it, how to manage your calorie intake through discipline and exercise. He does exercise a lot, but the calorie intake management is something you have to learn. And if you take that, medicine to do it for you, are you going to be able to keep the weight off? And hopefully so, but I don't know. I'm doing it the hard way, learning the lessons, and that's how I would recommend it, of course. The weightlifting workouts this week were the same old stuff. It's such a slow thing building muscle, but I do feel like I'm making progress. Like every week, something will either I'll be able to do an extra rep or two, or it just starts to feel a little easier or something. So I think when I'm done losing the weight and I start eating more, just more days, I'll be getting more protein in and I'll just have higher calories in general. So I think the weight lifting will spike after that. But for now, it's just slow and steady. Here are the side-by-side comparisons between day 1 and day 294, which is the end of week 42. Man, the farther this goes along, 42 weeks in now, the farther I get away from recognizing that was even me in those old pictures. It was almost a year ago now. That was back in January, but I just don't recognize that person anymore. It's kind of wild. That's about all I got to say here. No movement on the measurements. No surprise there. I haven't lost any more weight. So let's hope that next week, being hardcore, maybe we'll see a little tick down in these, but maybe not. We'll see. For the weight this week, I actually gained 2.5 pounds, which is crazy just from eating pizza for 2 days. But that's life when you're lean and athletic. I guess the weight packs on quickly, and honestly all the carbs, salt, all that stuff from the pizza that I don't normally eat, has some water retention and stuff like that. But now that I have this fancy new scale, I can see it's not just water retention. The fat went up. So that's why I bought this thing. So I can see that, I can't hide behind, it's probably just water weight. I overate and my body packed on some fat and I've got to fix it. That's why I want maximum visibility so I can react accordingly. And between now and Christmas, I need to lose 6 pounds to get to 10% body fat. And it's totally doable. Only a pound a week. Not a big deal. Can I be disciplined? We have Thanksgiving coming up, which that's just one day, but I will splurge, cornbread especially. That's my thing. Bread in general, which is why I love pizza. But yeah, I'll be hitting the cornbread pretty good that day, and potatoes, of course. But yeah, pound a week. So let's go this coming week, hardcore. Keep the calories down, keep the protein up, and then hopefully I'll be able to start using the treadmill. And let's get this number back down. At least, obviously, I have to lose the pound. Can I lose more than that to get, make some headway before the holidays start to hit? We'll see. Wish me luck. I'm going to need you guys to start crossing your fingers for me because I need to. I have discipline, but I need more. For the body fat, again, went up because I did gain some fat this week according to the scale. So we're up to 13.6, which sucks, moving in the wrong direction, but, it's recoverable. Again, just from 2 days of eating pizza, wild. But anyway, so I got to lose 0.6% per week to get down, it's 3.6% in 6 weeks, 0.6 per week between here and Christmas. Again, I think it's doable. Just got to buckle down and do it. So the data from the Hume Body Pod, we have here the body fat percentage. Last week was 13. This week, 13.4. And if you're paying attention, you may say, wait a minute, you just said in the last chart it was 13.6. Well, 13.6 was this morning. This 13.4 is the average for the week. So I'm only going to use I mean, I use the day to day numbers for that chart just because that's what I've been doing from the beginning. But this is what I care more about because it kind of averages out the noise. So 13.4 is the number this week. So I gained zero point 0.4 from last week's average. So either way, it's going in the wrong direction, which I've done 2 weeks in a row now, consistently gone in the wrong direction. So it's time to buckle down, and that's why I would highly recommend any of you who want to lose weight to either get this Hume Body Pod or anything like a scale that measures your body fat, and even just using the scale every day. You need to see what you're doing. I've in the past I've had times where I didn't use the scale because what do I care? I'm not tracking that. And in a month or two or whatever, since I had last weighed myself, I gained like 10 pounds. Maybe if I weighed myself every day and just not even trying to lose weight, but just was paying attention, I might think, oh boy, I should change something. I should stop what I'm doing. I'm gaining weight. So, and this level of visibility from this type of thing is even better because, literally every week I can see exactly what's going on. And it I don't want to say it scares me, but it raises the flag to say, hey, you need to change something. You're going to lose. You worked really hard all year. You're going to lose this progress if you don't buckle down. And so that's what I'm doing now, trying to buckle down to try to get this trend back in the right direction with, as minimum slipping as possible. And that's hard to do when you have company events with free food, you got holidays and this and that. Like, I totally understand. I'm a human too. But between holidays, between work events or free lunches or lunch with friends or whatever you're doing, you got to buckle down. You can't just, this week is Thanksgiving, so I'm going to binge all week. You can't do that. Or you can, but, you'll just gain weight. So anyway, moving on. Okay, now to the data, the number that matters the most, the body fat mass. So last week it was 20.9, this week 21.7. Absolutely movement in the wrong direction, gaining 0.8 pounds from eating pizza for 2 days. Like I was saying earlier, those extra calories goes right into fat. And that actually checks out if you look at the numbers. I ate about 3,000 calories and then about 4,000. So that's 7,000. And per day, let's say I need 2,000. So that's an excess in those 2 days of 3,000, which 3,500 calories is a pound. So those 3,000 extra calories went straight to fat. That's literally the 0.8 right there. The numbers work out 100%. And, I know that now that's exactly what's going to happen. So I got to be more conscious of that. And of course, I'm not saying I'm not going to have splurge days. There's going to be pizza days. There's going to be Thanksgiving or whatever. But I got to know that that day of splurging or 2 days or whatever it's going to be is going to go to fat. And then it's going to take me literally for one day, it's going to take me an entire week of being disciplined, if even 1 week can do it, to burn it back off and get back on track. Now, that's not going to be a big deal in the, like when I'm done losing weight, and let's say, hopefully I could do it by Christmas. I'm beginning to wonder if that's really going to be possible, but I'm trying. But let's just say, at some point in the near future, I've lost all the weight, and then I have a splurge day. It's not really a big deal because my lifestyle is such that I work out and I eat healthy. So if it takes a week or two to lose it, that's fine as long as I don't have splurge days at a higher frequency. Like if I had a splurge day every week and it takes 2 weeks to make up for it, that means I'm going to gain weight, and that's not going to work. So I guess the trick is long term managing those splurge days to make sure, if you haven't recovered from the last splurge day, yeah, you're not allowed to have another splurge day because then you're compounding, you're just stacking fat. Essentially, you're moving in the wrong direction. So that's kind of the mental check that's going to be in my mind, including now. Like last week, I had a couple splurge days. Now I'm not going to have another splurge day until I've recovered from that. And Thanksgiving is roughly 2 weeks away. So I've got that 2 week period to make as much progress as I can before my next splurge day. And that's just how life's going to be going forward. So it's good practice now, and that's just how it's going to be forever, basically. Okay, so for the body fat allocation from the Hume Body Pod data, this first picture on the left was 3 weeks ago now when I first started collecting this data. And then the one on the right is this morning. So interestingly, if you look down at the legs, they're about the same. My right leg actually got leaner and my left leg got fatter. I think those are just in the noise. The trunk is basically exactly the same within the noise, but my arms are reading much fatter. So when I eat pizza, my body stores the fat in my arms first, I guess. It's kind of interesting. But okay, that's just what it is. And again, body fat going up is not ideal, so we gotta get cracking on that. Okay, so for the muscle allocation now, again, the image on the left was 3 weeks ago. The image on the right was this morning. The arms both show slight improvement, which is interesting. The fat and the muscle, both went to the arms. But again, the number is so close that did I really gain 0.1 pound of muscle? I don't know. In 3 weeks, maybe. I am working it hard. So, and then the trunk, also interestingly, if you look, it was 61.2 pounds, and it says standard, and then it went up 0.1, and it says low. That's odd, but I guess it's a ratio of the total body weight because that has gone up in a couple weeks, and then the legs are, one leg went up, one went down. I don't know. The initial data might have been noisy because it's uneven, 22.1 and 22.8. Now they're both 22.6. So maybe and the arms too are even now. Or they were even before, but maybe the reading is actually more accurate now than it was then. Don't really know, but we'll just keep tracking this number. Honestly, now through the end of the year. Although at the beginning of next year, when I start Project Muscle, I'll start with a clean day one muscle allocation, not this one, because this one's still from this year. We'll do it for a clean year. Okay, for the summary, weight went up, body fat went up, measurements didn't change. We've already discussed all this, previously, so I don't have a whole lot to expand upon here. I'll just reiterate that, I got to get serious. I am serious right now, as you saw since Friday, and I don't believe there's any work-related functions before Thanksgiving, so I should be good to be disciplined and real strict on my calorie intake between now and Thanksgiving. So that's a couple of weeks to make decent progress. Although the Thanksgiving week is the second week, which is going to totally destroy the progress, eating that day, which is just a few days before weigh-in, but whatever. We'll see what we can do, and then again, I'll start up being serious right after Thanksgiving, and we'll see how far we can get by Christmas. And if I don't hit it by Christmas, I'm still going to get the tattoo. My cousin's already got his tickets and everything to fly up here to Washington State, where I live, to give me the tattoo right after Christmas. So that's going to happen, even if I don't have the 8-pack or 6-pack abs yet. That will come, and the tattoo, it's an octopus. It ain't gonna change much. It's if the skin moves around a little bit, his tentacles will just move. It's not gonna really change the appearance of the tattoo. So that's still gonna happen, but the reveal will push out into next year if I can't get there, and that's okay. You'll have to be patient with me for the big reveal, but either way, I'm gonna start. I'm going to do all the things that I said I was going to do. I'm going to get the tattoo. I'm going to get a DEXA scan to verify when my scale says I hit 10%. I'm going to go get this medical DEXA scan to both verify that and just know for sure, because my scale may say 10 and the DEXA scan may say 12. And then I'll know, okay, I got to actually hit 8 on the scale to get, to the goal that I wanted. So again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there if it doesn't happen by Christmas. And I'm not giving up. I'm not saying this so that I have an excuse to give up. I'm still going to try to hit that by Christmas. But if I don't, it's not like the whole thing is just going to stop at Christmas. We're going to keep going until we get there. and then Project Muscle will start after Project Weight Loss is done. And again, I was hoping to do it by the end of the year so we could start clean in, January 1st is Project Muscle. But if Project Muscle starts in February, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be, how much muscle can we build in a year? And if it's January to January or February to February, it is what it is. So hopefully you guys are staying patient with me and maybe, trying to do it yourselves. And that's about it. This video is running real long. Apparently, I've been much chattier than I thought I'd be. So I'm going to let it go here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.